Can a man truly escape his past? And can love be the thing that redeems us all? This is Les Miserables. Jean Valjean was once a poor man who turned to stealing bread to survive. He was caught and sentenced to 9 years in prison. But when he was released, he was still seen as a dangerous criminal, and no one wanted to give him a second chance. Haunted by his past, Valjean dedicated his life to helping the poor and protecting the innocent. He became a respected member of the community and even adopted a young girl named Cosette, giving her the loving life he never had. But Inspector Javert, the man who arrested Valjean for his crime, never forgot about him. Javert believed that people never change, and he spent his whole career trying to put Valjean back in prison where he belonged. Despite the danger, Valjean continued to help those in need, all while trying to outrun Javert's relentless pursuit. As Cosette grew up, she became the center of Valjean's world. He loved her with all his heart and wanted to give her the best life possible. But their happiness was always threatened by Javert, who was always close behind. Eventually, Javert managed to capture Valjean and bring him to justice. But in the end, Valjean's good deeds could not be ignored, and instead of sending him to prison, the judge set him free. Javert, who had dedicated his life to upholding the law and punishing criminals, was shocked by this decision. He saw Valjean as a criminal who had committed the unforgivable sin of stealing bread. To Javert, Valjean was nothing more than a hardened criminal who had escaped justice for far too long. In Javert's eyes, Valjean had shown no remorse for his crime and had gone on to live a life of luxury and privilege while the honest, hard-working citizens of Paris had to suffer. He believed that Valjean was a threat to the very fabric of society and that it was his duty to bring him down. But Valjean was not the monster that Javert had created him to be. He had turned his life around and had become a force for good in the community. Valjean had used his experience as a former convict to help others who were struggling to reintegrate into society. He had started a charity to provide food and clothing to the poor and had also worked to reform the criminal justice system. Valjean's story was one of redemption and hope, which was in direct conflict with Javert's rigid worldview. For Javert, there was no such thing as redemption for a criminal. Once a thief, always a thief. But as the story unfolded, Javert's views began to crack. He started to see the humanity in Valjean and the injustice of his own relentless pursuit of the man. Javert was a man who lived by the law, but in doing so, he had forgotten the most important thing, the humanity of the people he was trying to uphold. He had become so obsessed with catching Valjean that he had lost sight of the bigger picture. The truth was that Javert was as much a product of his environment as Valjean. He had been shaped by the same poverty and injustice that had driven Valjean to steal bread. But while Valjean had found redemption, Javert had chosen to embrace the darkness. In the end, Javert's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of obsession and the importance of seeing the humanity in others. It's a reminder that we should not allow ourselves to become consumed by our pursuit of justice, but should always remember that at the end of the day, we are all human beings deserving of compassion and understanding. Valjean died knowing that he had made a difference in the world. He had helped countless people during his lifetime and had shown them that even if they had made mistakes in the past, they could still be redeemed. His legacy of kindness and compassion lived on in the hearts of those he had touched, and they carried on his work long after he was gone. For more dramatic and inspiring stories, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.